So I'd like to welcome our next speakers today. Bahar Shafiei and Sagar Jadhav are both from QUT. The presentation theme that they are using is best practice examples of transdisciplinary research tackling global challenges. And their presentation title, and everyone has very kindly put it on the screen for us, is Design Sprints for Sustainable Solutions, a reflection of a transdisciplinary and international collaboration. So I'll hand it over to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our presentation on Design Sprint for Sustainable Solutions, a reflection of a transdisciplinary and international collaboration. Today, we will co-present with Sagar on behalf of our teamies, Kaiwen and Matt, that you probably met them a few minutes before. So let's start with acknowledging the Turrbal and Yagura as the First Nations owners of the land. So as QUT members, community members, we acknowledge the important role Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people play within the QUT community. So this is my team, my amazing teamies. We are different faculties, education, chemistry, marketing, and public health. And we are a multidisciplinary and multicultural team that we were challenged to design, to explore solutions for decarbonization while focusing on UN SDGs number 11 to 16. So before starting the presentation, I want to give you a context of our presentation. Today's presentation will focus on theme 4, and we aim to reflect on our experience on Design Sprint, QUT Design Sprint, sponsored with QUT and industry section. So what is Design Sprint method? Design Sprint method is an innovative design thinking that enables quick development of innovative and creative ideas for sustainability issues. And the Design Sprint of QUT included 5 days of incubation, research, design, ideation, validation, and implementation. So by reflecting on our experience, we aim to showcase that how multidisciplinary and multicultural team formation can foster the development of innovative ideas for sustainable issues. For this, we decided to use Tuckman model team formation, and this is a nice model including 5 stages of forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. I will go through each stage to unpack our experience in Design Sprint. As we know, UN SDGs and their associated impacts are global and complex in nature. And so we require multidisciplinary and multicultural and broad perspective to tackle the issues. So I will unpack each stage as we move. The first stage of Tuckman model is the forming stage, and it is when the team members come together and introduce themselves and understand the goals and objectives of the team. So for us, the forming stage started with the first one of Design Sprint. It was the incubation and research day. So we started our day with interviewing with the design industry partners and doing some literature review. Things that contributed to forming us as a team. The first one was that our multidisciplinary differences. So when we came together and we introduced ourselves, we discovered that we come from different faculties and we have diverse experts. In the second stage, we understand that as a team, we have multicultural perspectives, and it means that each of us come from a different country. The third one was that in the first day, we understood that we have limited time to develop an innovative and practical idea. Regarding the client interaction in the incubate and research, we briefly interviewed the industry partners and we tried to discover and explore their assumptions regarding decarbonization. So available data in the forming stage, honestly, we didn't have so much information. So we started to collect data, doing literature review and doing interview. The cultural and disciplinary differences are important. This emulates the nature of the SDGs, and it also transcends the national boundaries. So it impacts people from all cultures and across multiple disciplines. So the second stage of document model is storming stage, and it is when conflicting way of thinking and working may arise and leading to potential tension and confusion. This is especially important to recognize in multicultural and multidisciplinary groups because they have different methodological perspective and they have different multicultural perspective to solve a problem. At this stage, all the learned and innate differences even may impede the progress of the team. So at this point of design sprint, we were in the day 2, design day, and we started to conduct research, establish a design while embedded in an intensive ideation process. We can say things that contributed to our storming stage as a team. First of all, our multidisciplinary differences. So in this stage, we discovered that we have varying degree of familiarity with the issue and the associated with the larger design challenge. Regarding our multicultural perspective, it introduced that we have different perspective on how to proceed to the problem and how to solve the problem. Regarding the client interaction, we realized that we hadn't worked out quite well to ask right questions in the day 1. And regarding our available data, it was the day that we discovered that we have so much information to navigate and understand that how well we can fit them together. In reflection, but we progressed through this phase fairly well. So we leaned in and got curious. So this helped us to establish a mutually identified and defined objective and process. So we were writing down, we mapping down, as much as we could, we tried to understand each other ideas and build trust with each other, which supported us to transit to the norming stage. Norming stage is the second stage of document model, and it is when teams start to find a rhythm through shared, agreed, and established ideas, practices, and principles. There is also an established leadership that has been built through clarity and trust. At this point of design sprint, we were in day 3 and we were in ideate day. So we received some feedback from our presentation from industry partners, and we had admitted that what we had designed, while we received so much positive feedback, it was too conceptual and we needed to modify our model. So we decided that, got inspiration by the feedback and started to modify it into something more practical and tangible. We can say things that contributed to our norming stage. The first things is that our multidisciplinary differences. So in this stage, we paused and we listened to each other and understand how and what we are doing related to our disciplines. In the second stage, regarding our multicultural differences, so we leveraged all the differences to ensure that we are addressing the broader social issues. Regarding the framework and limited time in the design sprint framework, in this stage, we practiced divide and conquer, which simultaneously established a distributed leadership and autonomy in our team process. So available data, as I said, we had so much information to navigate in this storming stage. In this stage, we started mapping ideas, looking for connections, and drawing and writing on papers and notes. It was messy, but it was full of fun. In reflection, we can say norming stage was the most crucial stage in our team formation and team performance, because it helped us to establish some very necessary shared principle and practices. It helped us to have a mutual understanding and agreement that surrenders to the normalization. So while we didn't have the answer of all the questions, we were quite confident and comfortable that we are in the right direction. And now I want to turn over to my friend Sagar to unpack of our shared experience.
Thank you very much, Bahar. So after the day 3 of norming stage, we entered the 4th phase of Tuckman's model, which was the performing phase. So on day 3, after receiving feedback about our work, we agreed on sticking to one solid plan, keeping aside our differences and using related expertise to resolve and implement the solutions. The team gathered up with an idea to combine tourism with green technology and educate a global population, engaging international tourists to use, promote, and successfully apply this idea of green tourism plus for the upcoming Brisbane Olympics. The team joined hands together and distributed the task based on individual expertise towards a successful plan. The thought of green tourism required implementation of a channelized solution in an economic way to promote decarbonization. The model composed of 8 main hurdles from beginning to the end and which needed to be resolved. The team entered a high-performance mode and worked rigorously towards a common goal. Each member in the team focused on the problems associated with their area of expertise and came up with the solutions to resolve respective issues. The member with expertise in science and technology worked on availability and feasibility of sustainable technology solutions and scientific benefits derived from them. The next phase involved implementation of the technology and educating all the players, including the end user of this technology. Without a proper implementation and education of the technology, this technology would surely prove worthless. The next 2 members worked on financial and business associated aspects to help develop economically beneficial structure. Economic feasibility is one of the top concerns for any solution to be sustainable. Finally, the environmental and health associated aspects of the project were looked after by the final expert who studied biological studies. Environmental and health associated feasibility is another pillar of any sustainable solution. Profound solutions to all the hurdles produced a fruitful model towards decarbonization with an ultimate prosperity and in a sustainable way. And together as a team, in the performing phase of our design sprint, we developed a model to implement electronic vehicles as a mode of transportation for all the tourism for the upcoming 2032 Brisbane Olympics. All the team members applied their expertise to prove it a brilliant idea towards economic, environmental friendly, and a universally benefiting solution to achieve the UNSDG's decarbonization goals in a sustainable manner for industries, people, and also the Australian government. Finally, after a successful performing stage and developing our Green Tourism Plus model, the team entered the final stage of the Tuckman's model, which was the adjourning stage. In this stage, after the team had fulfilled their objectives and team members prepared to disband and work on new projects, in our case, the adjourning phase involved 2 distinct parts. The first was the conclusion, which included consolidation and documentation of the ideas, resources, and data generated during our design sprint. This phase was further divided into 3 parts: day 5 presentation, final showcase, and documentation. And the second phase, which was continuation. This phase was also equally important, as while the design sprint concluded, the teamship and friendship continued. This stage directs members to keep an open mind for opportunities to explore future potential collaborations. Our participation in this eGrad conference is a great example of the same. Finally, we would say we have 3 key takeaways or 3 key illuminations from our experiences. The first one was our Tuckman's model. In this, we realized that any model is not sequential, and there were moments that we reverted back to storming, especially when confronted with a dead end to some of our thinking or to some feedback that we called out things we hadn't thought of. That being said, being aware of team formation model made us aware of actions we could help help move forward into performing stage. Taking a moment to pause, listening, and ensuring that we supported everyone's voice in the process was a vital part. The second one was the design sprint itself. Optimization and enthusiasm were the key aspects. Sometimes we feel like you're assembling an IKEA furniture in the dark, but that's when you pause, breathe, and lean into the process. Just like when you are driving and you can't see the destination, just trust the path and you are on it, and you'll get there eventually. Taking time to establish collective trust with your teammates is crucial. It comes from believing that everyone at the table has their own special value. The final and the third illumination is the transdisciplinary and international collaboration. There is so much richness to be found in multidimensional forms of collaboration. Transdisciplinarity is simultaneously an opportunity to leverage the knowledge that we don't have as individuals that helps us discover and learn. There's always exists thread of connection and relatedness waiting to be discovered. This is the international dimension. Finally, from our experience, when approaching sustainable issues, we need to consider the idea of self-transformation and nudging. When engaging with multicultural and multidisciplinary teams, to wind it up, we would say so many recipes come from just changing a few ingredients or modifying the way a dish is prepared. So we acknowledge QUT, Center for Future Enterprises, and GRED for arranging the HDR design sprint. This is our wonderful team. Thank you for all their efforts, and thank you guys for your attention. These are the references. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Congratulations. What a great presentation. I really enjoyed that. I think at the end when you talked about everyone at the table having their own value and adding to the recipe, it's really the core of what our conference theme is, isn't it? So
Yeah.
Thank you. That was excellent. Is there anybody here? I know you have your other teammates
Yes.
in the session. So if anyone has a question for you, please feel free. We're getting some applause from Kaiwen and Matt up there.
Yeah.
There's some applause. Maybe I can start by asking a question about how, as a team, how did you navigate the challenges of working across different disciplines, in specifically for developing a sustainable Olympic proposal?
Do you want to?
Yep,
Yeah.
I can. So when we consider Olympic, as an ideal event to move forward for sustainability. So it involved many things, like say when we explained during the performing stage. So we needed to educate people. We needed to consider the finances involved. We needed to consider the environmental aspects. And we also needed to look at what technologies are available so we can proceed forward towards decarbonization. So our team was a blend of people which they had all these problems could be just dedicated to some person, and they were the perfect fit for to resolve that one. And that's how we came with all the things, and then we build up this model of Green Tourism Plus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
brilliant.
the one thing that I want to add is that we have a very respectful relationship with each other as a team. So when we feel that someone is needed to be heard, we just pause and listen carefully. What is the idea or what is the approach of solving this problem? So as I said, we talk to each other so much, and we spend so much to establish a trust and distributed leadership in our team. So it was a phenomenal time when we discovered the idea of Green Tourism Plus for Brisbane Olympic and Paralympic, because we had some conflicting ideas with each other. But at the end, by connecting the ideas, by talking to each other, we found that, yeah, there is one thing that we can build our ideas on it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I think that you have just summed that up, that trust, active listening, they're really key components of transdisciplinary research. And I think every presenter here in this conference would agree. Thank you so much. So
Thank you.
much. So
Thank you.
excellent.